All right, everyone, it is 6:05, so we are going to get started here. My name is Hert. I am your moderator here. Just a little bit about me. I work in title and escrow at a company called Verde Title. I'm also the membership chair of Austin Black Real Estate Professionals, as well as the membership chair of Austin Young Real Estate Professionals. I'm super excited to introduce the Black Leaders Collective. Their whole mission and vision is to help the Black community and help solve issues that affect us today and our future. What they're doing is they're building a transformative movement that is intersectional and intergenerational to create a change for us, for Black and Brown people here in America. Now I'm going to let everyone on the panel introduce themselves, what their niche is, and also they are going to drop in the chat box how to reach them. Brianna Lacey King, you are up first.
Hey everyone, Brianna Lacey King here. I am a local mortgage lender. My specific niche is really working with investors, but what we do to get there here in Austin is to start by purchasing your first home. So I work with first-time home buyers or first-time investors, teaching them how to get onto that ladder, and using different strategies to help them build their wealth by acquiring additional properties once they've been able to secure their first primary. So we do that in many different ways. We work with down payment assistance, we work with MCCs, we work with affordability programs, and we work with just kind of seeing what your situation is and how we need to modify that to get you on the ladder. You don't need to have a perfect scenario to be a home buyer. We just need to get you qualified. And then you can go from there. So Brianna Lacey King, I am your mortgage lender, and I will put my information in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. And next we have up Tiffany Hargrove Maynor. Please introduce yourself to the group. You're still muted. I'm sorry.
Hey guys, my name is Tiffany Hargrove Maynor. I am broker and owner at eInfinity Realty. We are the home of all things real estate. We help people to buy, sell, and invest in real estate. One of the things that we pride ourselves on at eInfinity Realty is if you are not currently ready to purchase a hand, hold you through the entire process of getting ready into your home and beyond that. That is our goal. Our goal is to help our people in the community to purchase their first home and do so. I will actually share my contact information in the chat box as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Miss Christina. Christina, please introduce yourself to the group.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad everyone was able to make it this evening. I'm Christina, and I am the Director of Lending at Community Wheelhouse. At Community Wheelhouse, we are affordable housing consultants. We manage a few developments across the city of Austin, and those homes are, income restricted, and they are capped at appreciation in order to sustain long-term affordability. I'll be talking about one particular development this evening, but there are a couple others that we have in the wings that may be coming on here in the next few years. So feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my contact information in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. Next on my screen, Dan, the insurance man. Please introduce yourself to the group.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ms. Bree. Good evening, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Daniel D. Mann, aka Dan the Insurance Man. I am a property and casualty insurance broker in the state of Texas. I have access to over 40 different insurance companies to help my clients find the right insurance for their needs. I do home insurance, auto insurance. I do everything from RV, mobile home, motorcycle, all the way down to pet insurance, as well as term life insurance. So, whatever you need, I can take care of you. And I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you, everybody, for spending your time with us this evening.
Thank you, Dan. And next on my screen, Amanda Garcia, please introduce yourself to the group.
Thank you so much, Bree. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you being on. My name is Amanda Garcia. I am the owner and broker associate and Sunshine Residential Property Management based here in Austin. I'm also the rental policy chair for the A-Board Legislative Management Team. And we really pride ourselves at Sunshine on one, being a resource for people just like us that are first-time home buyers or have been through that process, and being a resource in the community to everyone, which is exactly why we're on this call today. I will drop my information also in the chat, and I look forward to having this conversation today.
Thank you. We're excited about this conversation as well. And Joshua, you are next on my screen. Please introduce yourself to the group.
How y'all doing? My name is Joshua J. I am the Director of Business Process Design at Xanavoy, tech arm of a large accounting firm out of New York. It's a Black-owned tech company, so for your tech needs, it is Black-owned and operated, all management, directors, et cetera. What I do is design business processes. I'm a bona fide data nerd. I go into companies, I take whatever they have on pen and paper, whatever they have in operations, perform audits, and design their processes so that it can fit into tech architecture. I also build the architecture for their tech transformation. It's not as probably useful as some of the real estate professionals on here. I think everybody can use that, but if you do have a business and you want me to look over it, I also volunteer my time and services to people's organizations around Austin for free. Nice to meet you.
Very nice. Free. That is always good. Thank you very much, Joshua. And next on my screen, Pamela, please introduce yourself to the group.
Thanks, Bree. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Pam Garcia. I am with BCLA, Texas. We are a HUD-approved counseling agency. So you might not have heard of counselors for home buying, but we do exist. And we do just what pretty much everybody else on this call does. We help you get prepared for homeownership. If you're not ready today, if you might be ready in a year from now, we put the actual milestones that you would need to hit in order to be ready, and hold your hand all the way through. Not only hold your hand, but give you the tools and resources that you need in order to achieve homeownership, and definitely work with a lot of affordable properties here in Austin and across the state. So looking forward to today's conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, it is safe to say everyone on this panel is very passionate about home ownership. And let's just be honest, people, they're not making more land, okay? As it pertains to all of America and the people who are purchasing homes, people who look like us are going down, whereas people who don't look like us, they're buying more and more homes, right? So what does that mean for the future of our generation? So thank you very much for being here, because this is telling us that we have people here who are looking to purchase homes. So everyone on this panel, please make sure you are saving their contact information, and please make sure you are reaching out to us, because we do want to help you. So awesome. Thank you for being here. Your presence is a present. So the very first question I have for the panel, there's many Black and brown people in Austin who have never bought a home. So speaking directly to them, what does that first time home buyers process look like? Who wants to answer the first question?
I will take that question. So to be honest with you guys, and I was a first-time home buyer myself, I think it could definitely be overwhelming. Why? Because they don't teach us this in high school. They don't teach us how to buy a home in college. So you're pretty much, no matter what your education is, you still need to learn the process and regulations that need to, that you need to have, and your whole team that you're going to have behind you whenever you're going to be purchasing the home. So I don't want to lie that it's an easy peasy thing, because it's not, especially if you need to work on your own finances and get prepared. But once you have that goal, it's something that if you do need to make some sacrifices, you will do them, because whenever you have those keys in your hands, it's all worth it. So, the journey looks like being prepared, getting the whole team with you in terms of who is going to be your mortgage lender, what type of home you're going to, what does homeownership mean to you? Is it a, white picket fence, or is it more of a condo? Or, have those conversations. What are your options? And just getting started that way with knowledge, I would say. I know Brianna has her hand up.
Thank you. Great answer. I'm not sure who had their hand up first, Christina, Brianna, or
Tina did.
but I'm sorry.
Was it? I think it was me. I can jump on top of this. This is a really great question. To co-sign on what Pamela said, it is a very involved process, purchasing a home, especially for the first time. There is a lot of knowledge that you will need in order to be a good informed buyer. Being an informed buyer is the best thing to be. So starting off, getting as much knowledge as you can. Maybe that's going to BCL and going through their first time home buyer program, getting that knowledge there, working in the development that Community Will House manages in Mueller. We have a lot of first time home buyers that come through our program. We do advise that they get some type of first time home buyer counseling before they purchase. We also tell them to find a realtor. That is so important to being informed, to have someone that's working on your behalf. I think that's the next step after you're getting your home buyer education. Find a realtor that you vibe with, that's gonna have your back during that process. And then your realtor might have some people you could talk to, like a lender, or a home warranty person. All those things are going to come into play, and they're all very important. So while that process is a lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts, it's gathering a team of people to work for you, right? So, and I think it starts there with the education, and then with your realtor, and then it goes further than that. And I'll kick it to Brianna. She was next.
Thank you, Christina. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit on that and say, as a first-time home buyer, you have to kind of do a lot of research internally and find your why. Why are you buying a home right now? Is it because everyone else is and you're scared? Is it because you feel like if you don't do it now, you're going to get priced out of the market? Is it for stability in your housing expense that you get for home ownership? Is it because you have a goal of building wealth and you want to capture tax-free appreciation and equity later on? So you need to find out what your why is for buying, because that will dictate what types of programs you're looking into, what sort of people you need to reach out to, and what sort of lenders or real estate agents are going to fit with your goals, because not every lender, not every agent, not every program is for everybody. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty on some of these programs later on. But if you kind of understand where you're at in the process, why you're doing it, and what your exit strategy is. So we use this in investing, like what's the exit strategy of this? What are you doing in 5 years with this house? You need to figure all of that out internally or with whoever it is you're buying with, and then you can do all of the other wonderful things that we've already touched base on.
Wonderful answer. The next, Josh, did you still want to answer? I know that your hand was down, but
Yeah. So the experience, I think the question was like, what is it like? I became a first-time homeowner in December of 2021. And for me, it was like drinking from a water hose. I literally had to sit down at night with all of the things, the paperwork, the emails, the homes that I was going to look at, maps, and strategize for myself. And to Brianna's point, you have to figure out why. And I kind of juggled back and forth between a few different reasons why, and I came to stability. I'm a vet, and I got to luckily take advantage of all the veterans benefits here in Texas. So as far as building wealth, it was a tool for me to use to build wealth. And honestly, I was trying to find a place to hide my money from Uncle Sam. So I decided that my rent was going up and I could stabilize that by buying a home. And I got some more space out of it. I got a whole bunch of write-offs, and I run my business out of my house. So there's usually more than one reason, but obviously, you know, honestly, it was drinking from a water hose. I consider myself a fairly intelligent person, and some of the things that I had to, without my lender, my real estate agent, I don't think I would have ever figured out the true cost of purchasing a home. Even with the benefits that I had, it cost a lot more out of pocket than I thought it was going to. And I think at first when I reached out to the lender, they basically told me I wasn't ready because I hadn't really taken account of all the other expenses that I was going to have with purchasing a home. So my recommendation, even before you find a real estate agent, is to really shop around and find a good lender. A real estate agent is great, but the lender is the person who's really going to be your best friend through this. So find a good lender, and 9 times out of 10, your lender knows a good real estate agent that they work with on a regular basis. For me, picking a real estate agent was also kind of hard. I know a lot of real estate agents, and I found that working with someone who is your friend was not necessarily the best way to go. So I needed someone who was just straight business, someone I could tell my requirements and not have to worry about the emotions and the emotional attachment that I had. Hey, this is what I want. This is the price that I want. Also, stick hard to your budget. I knew how much I wanted to spend. I knew what my ceiling was. If you do not stick hard to your budget, you're going to break it easily. Because I could have I had to turn down some really nice homes that I thought that I wanted, but it was outside of my budget, what I wanted to spend, not just today, but in the long run. Like, to Brianna's point, what are you going to do with this house in 5 years? Is this going to be something that I want to spend money on for 5 years? So yeah, it was quite the experience. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Great answer. Yes, it is definitely a journey. But when you have a good team around you, that's what it's all about. Makes it so much easier to, calm you down, talk you off the ledge, just be there with you so that you know that you're not alone going through this, and just have somebody who, of course, is licensed to do this. This is their whole job. They know so many things. I think the next hand I saw was Tiffany.
And I'm just going to piggyback on what I'm going to add to that. It's really, really important to, on the front end, to don't start this process without having your team in place. The biggest mistake that a home buyer can make is diving into looking at homes that potentially they may or may not qualify for, to then be in it and told once they find a house and they go to the lender or they go find a realtor that they don't necessarily qualify for that home. So that's one of the biggest disappointments that you can have. So I recommend to any first-time home buyer, hire your team on the front end, hire the people that are going to advocate for you. One of the points that I'm trying to make here, even if you're buying a brand new home, understand that when you walk into a brand new home sales office, the people that are sitting in that sales office, they actually work for that home builder. They don't work for you. They work for the home builder. They get a salary from the home builder. You still need your representation. You still need someone that is going to advocate for you. So hire the professionals on the front end so that you know that, that they're working on your behalf. They're going to advocate for you when things start to go sideways and you feel like you're up against a wall. The realtor, the lender, those are the individuals that are going to actually help you and guide you to the finish line. And they're going to make sure, because at the end of the day, that realtor and that that's what they do for a living. So if they don't get you to the finish line, guess what? They don't get a paycheck. So hire the professionals, the ones that actually know what they're doing on the front end, so that it hopefully prevents a whole lot of road path to home ownership. And that's it.
Excellent answer. Yes, that is a wonderful perspective to bring into play, that the people, when you walk into the home buyer's office, that those people work for them. So thank you for bringing that up. Also, to everyone, if you have any questions, like as they're answering, that may of course make you have a question, please feel free to take advantage of that chat box and write your question, and we will get that question answered. Speaking of answers, I have another answer from Dan Demand, and then we'll move on to our next question.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Bree. The one thing that a lot of people end up forgetting in the whole process too is their insurance. What tends to happen is, you know, the realtor or the loan officer says, hey, you're going to need insurance for this home. And what people end up doing is they just get insurance with whoever they have their auto insurance with. And, you know, oh, they're getting a $400 discount, you know, bundling discount, what have you. However, they may be getting a great rate for their auto insurance. However, when it comes to home insurance, that home insurance may be one of the highest in their area, but they think they're getting a great deal because they're getting a discount. But even with that discount, it could still be higher than just a home policy on its own. And so when you have a broker like myself, the way I try to, you know, put it in people's heads is think about, you know, a combo meal. You have Whataburger, you have McDonald's, and you have Burger King. You may love the hamburger from Whataburger, the French fries from McDonald's, and the drink from Burger King. With me, we can help you find the right insurance regardless of what company it's with, and still be able to provide you that bundling discount, because some of the relationships that we have, they don't sell auto insurance in terms of home insurance. So they'll offer a bundling discount if it's with the agency. So working with a broker when it comes to insurance, I think it's just a much better way of going than just going the easy route, which is let me just get home insurance with the auto insurance. Mr. Joshua had spoken about how the expenses were a lot more than he expected. Insurance is all part of that. You know, you have to think of what your monthly payment is going to be with insurance. And, you know, if you don't get the right thing, that's going to obviously put you way over budget. So just want to put that out there as well.
Thank you, Dan, the insurance man. Yes, tell us about how we can plug and play, do what we want with that insurance. I like that. All right, our next question that we have, what are some unknown benefits or programs that are available to take advantage of? First, two, thanks again. Let's go first with Brianna Lacey King.
All right. Okay. I would say the biggest one that people don't take advantage of, that they don't know about, is the MCC program. The MCC program is a tax benefit. You could only do it once. It's only for first-time homeowners, home buyers. The MCC, Mortgage Credit Certificate, is basically something that helps with affordability. Number one, it helps you qualify for a little bit more house because it gives you qualifying income, and also it actually does put money back in your pocket. So look, she's leaning back. She's like, wait, what is this? The MCC is a tax credit, not a tax deferment or anything like that. It is a true credit. And what it does, it takes the entirety of the mortgage interest that you pay over a year, or your estimated mortgage interest that you're going to be paying over the year, you get 20% of that as a credit on your tax return. So if you filed your taxes and you owed $3,000 in your tax return, then but you filed for your MCC as a first-time homeowner, and 20% of the interest you paid throughout the entire year was $2,000. You only owe $1,000 on your taxes now. Or let's say you didn't owe any money on your taxes and you were going to get a refund, and then on top of that, you spent $10,000 on interest on your mortgage, which is possible in these times. 20% of that comes back to you. So you get your refund is increased by up to the MCC amount. So it's a really great program. There's a lot more. That's just my favorite one to mention for people. And we could probably be here all day just talking about programs, but I will let someone else have the floor after that.
Very nice. Thank you. MCC loan. Okay. Okay, we're gonna find out a little bit more about that.
Just the program, not a loan. It's just
Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Okay, program. I like that. Definitely want to know what other programs you know about. I think the next hand I saw up, was it Daniel or was it Christina? I'm sorry. I think they both went up at the same time.
I can go if
Okay.
so. Brianna, touche to MCC. MCC is great, y'all. 2 thumbs up. Definitely suggest that everyone try to take advantage of that if you're a first-time home buyer. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about the affordable home program that I am a part of. And I do want to address the first word of that, affordable. Affordable is a relative term, okay, everyone? Let's just throw that out there. What's affordable for someone is not affordable for somebody else. Austin, as we all know, is crazy as far as home prices go. The particular development I'm going to speak to today is Mueller, which is in East Austin. The affordable home program there, those home prices are ranging from about, let's say the lowest I've seen is like 189 up to about 300 in the program. It is income capped, so you cannot make over a certain income level per your household size. There is an asset limit on that as well, so you can't have more than a certain amount of liquid assets also. I can go into detail on those things with people individually. You can come to our info sessions, which we have one a month. The next one coming up is October 27th, where we talk about all those in specifics. It is a great program for if you want to live in Austin, if you want to live in East Austin and Mueller, and you do not want to pay $500,000 for a 1,200 square foot house, it's a great program for that. If you're looking for something that's going to make you money, right? This is not the program for you. This is a income cap. There is an appreciation cap on this program, which means when you do go to sell, you are only going to make so much money off of that property. And it's built that way in order to sustain affordability in that particular development over a long period of time. So what Brianna said in the earlier wings of the discussion as to what is your why, that is important when you're looking at affordable programs and things like that. If you're trying to get into something to really build a lot of wealth quickly, affordable programs are not going to be for that. This is going to be somewhere where you want to park it, you want to live here, you like this, this town, and you want to stay here for a long time, you're not necessarily worried about making a whole lot of money. That would be the type of program for you. So I put my contact information in the chat if you want to talk about Mueller in depth, or if you're interested in attending that session, I can put the link to that to sign up for that also as well in the chat. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to do, Daniel's going to answer, then Josh, and then we are going to go to the chat box to answer some questions that are going on in there.
And please forgive me, Bree. I think I just had my hand up from the last question, so ignore
Oh,
mine.
okay. Josh, hand up, camera off.
I can jump in real quick.
Pamela, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted just to piggyback on everyone, just down payment assistance programs in general. Most of them do have a first-time homebuyer requirement, meaning that you have not owned a home in the past 3 years. So if you have owned a home in the past, but not in the past 3 years, you're considered a first-time homebuyer again. And most of those programs, I say most because some don't, but most do have that income cap. For example, the city of Austin has a down payment assistance program where they get, you can qualify up to $40,000. And I'll just drop this information on the chat here. But for example, for a household of one, you can't be making more than $55,400. So those are like for a household of four, $79,100. And these are limits that are set by HUD every year. And those get updated in July, I believe, June. Yeah, June, July, they get updated every year. So those income caps change on an annual basis. So just wanted to throw out just there's city programs, there's county programs, and then there's statewide programs as well, like TSHAC or TDHCA, which is the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very insightful. Amanda, did you have something that you wanted to answer or expand on?
Yes, and Pam kind of talked on this just briefly as she was ending, talking about the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation. That is a great website for first-time home buyers. You can also find realtors and lenders on there as well. You do have to sign up with that program to be a lender or a realtor so that they can make sure that you're able to assist the home buyers that are coming into that program. But they have eligibility quizzes that you can do that will tell you whether or not that you qualify for certain grant programs that are given. And then once you take that step, they run you through some additional things within the program, but it gives you down payment assistance. They have different programs like the Homes for Texas Heroes program. And if you don't qualify for those, they have a Home Sweet Texas program. But it also talks about MCC on there, as that Brianna had talked about, but it's a great website, and I'll drop that in the chat as well for everyone. But that is a great website for you to take advantage of and just to kind of walk you through that home buying process as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we're going to go over to the chat box. The first question, does prayer work in the home buying process? If you believe it, you can achieve it. All right. Closed mouths don't get fed. They just stay hungry. You better ask the Lord to help you get that house. Anybody else want to answer? Brianna, yes, I see your hand is raised.
I was going to say, I think that covers it. And also, Bree, I cheated a little bit. I've been answering questions as they come out in the chat. Let me know if you'd rather us just wait till you come up to them to answer.
No, by all means. You know, sometimes when you have the question, you do want the answer as soon as possible. So if somebody is asking a question in the chat, you can answer it, go for it. And who knows, maybe some of the people on the panel may not be looking in the chat. So reading it aloud, we may get a little bit extra elaboration on that question.
Perfect. Thank you.
But I like it. Thank you for paying attention to the chat. Another question. Will a lender help me understand what I qualify for? And if nothing currently, how I can get qualified?
I'm already unmuted, so I'll take it as the lender on the dealio here. Yes, that is our job. That is, as a loan originator, the majority of your job is taking and qualifying people for loans. That's what we do. If we are not doing that, find a new lender. We look at your specs. We look at your credit score and the things on your credit. We look at your DTI, which is your debt to income ratio. So we look at your income, how much you've made, how much you're expected to make over the next few years based off of what you've made historically. And then we are looking at your, we're looking at the availability of funds to close. That does not have to come out of your pocket. So if we have access to all of these different grants or loans or products, we'll look at anything that we have access to, anything that you have access to, and come up with the amount that you have available to you to purchase a home. And we will give you a qualification letter based on those main 3 pillars. But that is pretty much the majority of our job, is to do that. So.
Very good. So basically, if I'm asking my loan officer these questions and they don't want to give me those answers, then I need a new loan officer. But the first thing is I'm going to ask you anyway. I'm going to ask you. So moral of the story, ask the people on this panel if you need some money. Next question. What are the things I need to get in order to qualify for a home loan? I see Brianna's hand is up.
I'm just going to unmute and take that again. So again, the things that we need to be able to look at as your credit as well. So it's really better if we could take a full look at your credit and do a hard inquiry so we can look at what it all encompasses. So having your scores unlocked, we need to look at your documents. So we need to review your past 2 years. If you're a W-2 employee, we need to look at your past 2 years of W-2s. We need to look at your pay stubs, look at your bank statements, and we need to look at your ID to make sure you are who you say you are. If you're self-employed, we need your tax returns. And that kind of gets into a different wheelhouse nitty-gritty in there if you're self-employed, but pretty much just 2 years of W-2s, two pay stubs or a month of pay stubs, and 2 months of bank statements. That's it. Really easy. It can take like 15 minutes if you have all of these things. It's very quick.
Follow-up question, curious for small business owners, do you need profit and loss statements? Like current year to date or 3 months?
So that actually, the P&L was a COVID overlay. Some people have dropped that, some people have not. So if you are a small business owner, it's better to have that. So we would need your, essentially, let's say we keep with the strictest guidelines, we need your last 2 years of tax returns to see how much income is yours, because you are separate from your business. So how much income you claimed you made in profit, that's now yours. Then we need your usually your year to date. So we're in a new year, right? Year to date P&L to make sure you are still profiting according to your P&L, which is unaudited. Then we also need your 3 months of most recent bank statements to make sure that those deposits that you're having and the income you're having to come in matches what you claimed on your P&L, and it matches what you have claimed historically the past 2 years. So we're checking all of those things. That is the strictest guidelines. Some lenders, and this is lender specific, have dropped some of those. So that's COVID, since COVID. Your general guidelines pre-COVID would be, let's say your lender dropped all COVID overlays. It's just your 2 years of 2 years of the tax returns plus your most 2 bank statements. So basically it would just be swapping those W-2s for your tax returns if you have a lender that has dropped all COVID overlays. But a lot of lenders are somewhere in between.
Wow, my brain is just, I am learning so much. And y'all, I've been in title and escrow for about a year and a half. Okay. And every single time I get around these people, I learn so much. And it's great because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I know I'm not the only one who's like, wow, I didn't even know that I didn't know that. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. The next question, I think you already answered. Is there income-based program to help with down payments? And then what are the benefits of the MCC? I did see that you put your links in there, but if anyone else on the panel would like to expand on those 2 questions, is there income-based program to help with down payments? And also, what are the benefits of the MCC? Yeah. Yes, Miss Tiffany. Yes, please. You're muted. I'm sorry. Hi.
Hi, I'm going to take the question on whether or not there are other programs to help with down payment assistance. There are quite a few. There's a plethora of programs that are out there that will help with assistance. I like to get good and I like to get the bad. Yes, there's help, but all help is not free. A lot of people think because money that they don't necessarily have to give on the front end, that it is the same as if they were just getting a traditional loan without the assistance. When in fact, a lot of the down payment assistance programs, the interest rate on those programs are a lot higher than those that are where you're just going in your own money. So keep that in mind. That means that if you're using down assistance as opposed to bringing your own money to the table, your buying power could potentially decrease, which that you won't necessarily be able to buy the home that you want to buy. So take into account all of those things before deciding to use one of those programs. Yes, it's great, especially for someone who just doesn't have the resources, especially if you're wanting to get into a home and you don't have the resources to bring your own money to the table. But know that it's really not free. There's a cost to it. And just like I believe, who was that mentioned something about on the back end, when it comes time to sell, some of the programs, you may have to, the program may recoup their money on top of that. So just be aware of that when you're using the grant programs and other down payment assistance programs.
What do you mean by the program may recoup their money?
So on the back end, you may have to repay the money that you're getting, plus potentially some interest on top of that.
Understood. Money ain't free. They don't just give it to you. Brianna, I see that your hand is up. And then Pamela.
Yes, ma'am. So, yes, to kind of give a little bit of clarity in what Tiffany said. So a lot of these programs, if it is a grant, that means it's a grant. It's free money. Yes, the interest rate you're paying on your fixed loan is higher, but it is not repayable. Then you have what's called a forgivable second lien. That means that, yes, it is a lien. It is stuck on your house, and it is forgivable after the certain term. TSHAC, TDHCA, they have 3-year forgivable second liens, meaning if you sell your house between month 1 and 36, you owe them every single dollar of the money that you borrowed, right? It didn't collect any interest. Nothing happened. It's just, you took $14,000 to pay your down payment. You sat in the house for 3 years, more than likely in Austin, and we have an average appreciation of 7%, actually technically higher, but let's say conservative 7%. So you've outgrown that money already by year 1, year 2, year 3, you sell it. Let's say you make a profit of $50,000, $60,000. You need to pay out of that $60,000 profit that you made, you need to pay that $14,000 back. Now that's still more money than if you sat at home renting for 3 years trying to figure out where you're going to save $14,000 from. You're still walking away with more money. But it's advantageous, like I said, to know your why and know your exit strategy. Because if you know you're going to be in that house for at least 3 years, you no longer owe that money anyway. So it literally ended up being free, except for the fact that the interest rate is higher on the main loan. And then there's ones that you repay, they're not forgivable at all. It doesn't matter when you sell it, you're always going to have to go back into that second lien and pay it off. And then there's some that are in between that have like a 20-year, basically that means forever, but a 20-year forgivability. So you just have to look at the terms and what you're getting. It is very important to understand that the free money is not necessarily free, and read your fine print and go over all of those things. So I just wanted to kind of piggyback on under which circumstances someone would say you owe money. I don't know of any circumstances that you owe money plus interest, but I do want to say that there's definitely most of those circumstances will require you to pay that back at some point.
Wow, thank you very much. That was definitely informative. Pamela, you're up next, and then we'll go back to some questions. Since we are going to be in the last hour, I'm going to keep the answers to only 2 panelists, so that way we can make sure to get through all of the questions.
Got it. Yeah, I just wanted to add, I get this question a lot. A lot of first-time home buyers want to go to the down payment assistance program directly. And those programs are administered by the loan officer. So you would need to ask who you're working with, your lender, about these down payment assistance programs to see who they are, which programs they are participating in order so they can offer that down payment assistance to you. So you don't go directly to the state and say, hey, I want down payment, or to the city. You would go directly to your loan officer and ask them about that. And I just wanted to add that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The next question I have, can first-time home buyers use their first-time home buyers credit to purchase a multifamily home, like an apartment building or like a fourplex or something like that?
Yes.
All right.
You can, for first-time home buyers, you can, as long as it's under 4 units and you occupy the space. If you do not move into that and you're not living there, then no, you cannot. VA can also do the same thing, but it has to be 4 and under, and you have to live on site. And that's what we call in the industry house hacking. You know, you're living there, but the rest of the rents that you're going to charge for that investment property are going to pay your potential mortgage. And then you're building so much equity so much faster than you would in a single family home. And a lot of people are starting to go that route, buying duplexes and living on one side and renting out the other. But yes, it is very doable. And I think it is a great idea for someone to do as a first-time home buyer, especially in the climate we live in now.
Wonderful. Absolutely. It's all about playing chess. Got to strategize. Brianna, I saw your hand was up. No? Okay.
Clarified it. She took it away. All good.
All right. The next question was, how do the current interest rates and inflation impact the cost of the home being purchased? Josh, and then Amanda.
I almost learned this one the hard way. When I went to go buy my home, my interest rate was, I locked in my interest rate, and then maybe like a week or 2 later, the interest rate shot through the roof. And my mortgage was going to be significantly higher than what it is now. Also, I had to look at the tax rates in the area. I think my tax rate in my area, even though I don't pay taxes, that's something that I was going to get into later. The tax rate in my area went up something crazy like 40% or something like that. It went up thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, I think last year the taxes in this area were going to be 7, and this year they're going to be almost 14. So inflation, if you look at it across the entire economy, is obviously going to affect your housing prices. It's obviously going to affect your maintenance costs, your gas. Like my gas, I don't have to pay for gas either because I have propane. But if I paid for gas, I think the heating bills here went up 20 or 30% last year alone. Electricity is more expensive. So you have to look at all those things when you're buying a house. Not only can I just pay my mortgage, you don't want to be what we call house poor, where all you have is 4 walls, a toilet, and a bed. You want to be able to actually live in your house. So pay attention to how inflation is affecting not only the housing market, but the market and the economy around you. Look at the interest rates and how they fluctuate. You want to lock in your lowest interest rate as soon as possible. When I decided I wanted to buy a house, I looked at the economy and knew that the interest rates were going to go up. So I told my mortgage lender, he was great and he kept me well informed, to go ahead and lock me in on an interest rate and buy now rather than be picky and end up with double the interest rate. So it can greatly affect how much you're going to pay for the house, not only now, but in the future.
Thank you. And then thought I saw Tiffany. Thank you. Please answer.
Hi. Interest rates impact buying power. Pricing and interest rates, they have an inverse relationship to each other. Typically speaking, when interest rates are up, home prices tend to come down or level off, if you will. So in our current market, it's kind of a situation where we were in an unprecedented time during the pandemic, where we had a shortage of homes. So in my opinion, what happened was during the pandemic, home prices were, in a sense, kind of artificially inflated, but that was due to the fact that we had a shortage. And the shortage was as a result of a number of factors. Not only were we in a pandemic, but home builders weren't building at the rate that they were supposed to, or they historically had been. And as a result of that, there was a shortage. People weren't moving because we were in the midst of a pandemic. So people weren't listing their homes for sale, they were staying put. But now we're in a different market. The rates were at a historical low during this time as well. But today, in today's economy, being that our interest rates are a lot higher than they were during the pandemic, we are having to adjust home pricing. I don't know how many people on the panel who are attending this call today are actually tracking and watching the news and seeing what's going on. But what I'm seeing is that home prices are just coming back to where they should be in the first place. Again, they were artificially inflated during the pandemic. If you are buying a home in today's market, you're probably going to pay a little bit more for the monthly payment because interest rates are a lot higher. It does impact your buying power. It impacts your affordability. Interest, and I'll just go to what's included in a mortgage payment: principal, interest, taxes, homeowners insurance. And then there's another insurance that a lot of people are unaware of, and that's called mortgage insurance. Things that you have control over when you are buying a home are going to be your homeowners insurance and your homeowners insurance, because you can shop it around, but you can also shop around for the mortgage. Every mortgage lender is not created equal. Every mortgage company may not be able to offer you the same rate. So I believe by shopping it around, just like you would if you were buying a car, you're not just going to go to the dealership just because they have your car. You're going to shop for the best price. So shop around for a mortgage lender that can offer you the best rate. One of the things I encourage you to do is take your initial lending estimate, your loan estimate that a lender should give you after you've applied for a loan, and take that and compare it to any of the other lenders that you've actually applied with. Take it, shop it around, make them compete for your business. Don't just go with the first thing that someone offers you, because that may not necessarily be the best thing for you. Secondly, the neighborhood that you buy in, kind of like what Joshua mentioned earlier about the property tax rate. The property tax rate, again, you can shop around for that. Every neighborhood is not created equal. Let's just say there's a neighborhood on side A and then there's a neighborhood on side B. They may have the two identical homes. Those homes may be the same exact price, but the thing that's going to make the difference in your monthly payment is the property tax rate. So again, you can shop around for a neighborhood that has a tax rate that you can live with, one that you can afford to live with. You don't want to be house poor. I'll say this because a lot of folks don't understand that there are some things that will cause your property tax rate to go up. One of them, or actually a couple of things, that's a PID and a MUD, a municipal utility district. It is an additional tax that's added on to your traditional taxes, like your county, your hospital, your school taxes. So living within a MUD, it's going to add an additional tax. So that makes affordability a lot more challenging for some people, especially when you're looking for affordability. So just be careful. And I'll say this, MUDs are, in many cases, not always, but in many cases, they are your new home divisions, the home divisions where there's a development. So do your research. Again, get your realtor, a knowledgeable realtor, one that's going to walk you through the process and give you all the facts concerning where you're buying a house and not just in it for a paycheck. Okay. That's it.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. Awesome. That's a lot. I'm learning so much. It looks like Amanda has something to.
Sorry, my hand raising thing isn't working. I don't know how to work it. I'm sorry, y'all. I wanted to just touch on the interest rates in the market right now because they are very high. And I think it's really important. I know one of our questions is about choosing, you know, a realtor and lender and things like that, but it's important that you have someone who's knowledgeable, who knows how to work in a market like this right now. It's not going to be the first or last time that we see interest rates like this. Real estate is on a cycle, and so it's going to come back down and then it's going to go back up. But there's something, and then Brianna can touch base on this, it's called buy downs, and we're in a buyer market right now, and using buy downs in this market is a great way for you to get an interest rate that's about 1 or 2% below what the normal rate is right now. You do have to pay cash in that, but because it's a buyer's market, you can always use settlement funds from the seller that can help you on that. And I can go more into detail on that, or Brianna, I know you can too. It's like they're called 3-2-1 buy downs. So if you get 7% interest rate, you might actually be able to get a 5 by paying in to get a lower interest rate. And so for the first 3 years, you're sitting at 5. Then the second year it goes to 6. Then the third year it goes up. But then you might be able to refinance by then. So in the meantime, you've paid into a house that you want to buy at a lower interest rate, and you can still work in this market.
Very nice chess. I see the moves there. I like it. In the chat, Martha asked, will this session be distributed to review once we end? I believe that would be, was it, not Terry, I'm sorry.
I think that it will be, and Tyra or Janae will email everyone after this to make sure that we make sure we explain exactly how it will be available.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
So follow BLC, Black Leaders Collective website, and you'll get information there on how that can be done.
Thank you very much. I'll make sure to get that link to that website in the chat box. The next question I saw, what are some good steps for people working in the margins? Those who are small business owners, self-employed, who it's close to impossible to actualize their home buying dreams in Austin.
I didn't raise my hand. Sorry, whose hand is raised first? I'm gonna go. Okay, cool. I can take that one. So self-employed people, honestly, it's just realizing that and I think she touches on this later, your business income and your income are separate, right? Once you have become a business and you are self-employed. It's not that you can't or that it's harder to qualify. It's really, a lot of it is depending on how you do your taxes, and realistically, how much are you making in your business to pay yourself? Your business funds are not to pay your primary residence. So you have to be making realistically enough in your business to pay yourself a living and an earning that supports a housing expense. And the way that we look at this is all of the lending that we look at that's considered QM, your first time home buyer loans, whether it's FHA, whether it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mae, conventional, whatever the government or whatever the program is, all of them are tied to the US government in some way. None of this is private money. This is all funds that's coming some way, somehow from the US government or sponsored entities. We're relying on the information that you told the government you have. So if you as a small business owner, you have the net income of, let's say, $200,000 is how much you're getting in. But when it was tax time and you told the government that you only made $10,000 and that's what you paid taxes on, that is the only income we can use to say, that's the income that's left for you, for your personal use, AKA your home, right? So it's not that self-employed people can't do it. It's that they have to make sure that there's enough income in their business that they are saying is profit, which is theirs to do with as they wish, so that we can qualify them if they want to play in that conventional world. Now, there are other ways around that for people that are really in the margins, but it's more expensive. So you could do what's called like a bank statement loan, where we're looking at, how much income you're making, how much revenue you're making for your business, and then we're looking at what your average expenses probably are. It's very discretionary, and that's called a non-QM loan. Non-QM loans, again, if you have to take from one bucket, if you're pulling out a qualification from one bucket, you got to pay more in another. So your interest rates is going to be higher than if you were doing conventional, and you're not going to be able to get those first-time home buyer 3%, 5%. You're going to be paying 10, 15, 20% on those loans. So it's kind of like you do have to pick. Again, it's like, what is your goal? And maybe for some people, it's that reckoning like, hey, you know what? I need to take less expenses because I know I'm going to be buying a house. So all these extra meal deductions, all these extra deductions that you technically could make, you might not want to be making those if you know you're purchasing a house, so that you can qualify under the regular QM loans. Or you might hedge your bet and say, you know what, I'm going to take all the deductions under the sun that I can, lower my tax liability to what I'm legally allowed to lower. But I understand that I'm going to pay 20% on my down payment. I understand that I'm going to pay a higher interest rate, and I'm going to understand that I might be having to do like a bank statement loan or an asset-based loan or some other loan that is considered a private money loan, which a lot of lenders have access to. It's just more expensive. So you just kind of have to pick which lane you want to play in, and just trudge forward full steam ahead with it. So
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else want to elaborate? Yes, Amanda.
It's just really kind of piggybacking off of what Brianna already said, and as she's the lender, of course, she's gonna have a lot of details, but I think a lot of people have this stereotype that if you're self-employed, that it's just impossible to buy a home, and that's actually not the truth. I think that it's really important that you find a mortgage broker who is familiar with doing it, just like you would want to find a realtor who can help you in a specific type of luxury home, or they help you with beach homes. You want to find a mortgage broker as well that specializes in helping people who are not going to be W-2 employees. And I'm glad that you said something about the bank statement kind of process. That's non-traditional, and a lot of people are not familiar with that process. They think that they have to qualify doing the normal loan process, and you don't. You can do exactly on the bank statement stuff. But a good point that Brianna brought up is we do, as self-employed people, me included, want to get all those deductions and things, but that actually ends up hurting us when we try to go buy assets later if we're not careful. But it's doable. It's just more tedious, and it is very detail oriented, but it's definitely possible.
You literally cannot say impossible without writing I'm possible. Right? So next question in the chat box from Ron Harrison. I am in Bell County near Killeen. Are these programs that we're all talking about, are they aimed primarily at living in Austin, or do they reach outside of that area? Buying a fourplex is my ultimate goal. Well, Ron, you're in the right place if you want to buy some property. All right, so we got time for two people to answer this question on the panel. Brianna, Lacey King, hand up.
I'm always like, okay, wait, is anyone else going to answer before I bogart this question? Okay. Anyway, some of those programs, the state ones specifically, so TDHCA and TSHAC, yes, available anywhere in the state of Texas. Certified Star everywhere except for Travis County and El Paso. Very weird. However, for whatever reason, most of those programs specifically only go up to a twoplex. It's a weird caveat. You could buy a twoplex, but most of them you can't buy more than a twoplex. So if you're trying to buy a fourplex, I saw somewhere, I think you mentioned that your VA, I would kind of go that route and get your VA eligibility as much as you can. But you might not be able to, and I say might, you'd have to double check, also layer on like a down payment assistance program. If you haven't bought a house before, which I think you have, you wouldn't be able to use an MCC as well. But if you haven't bought a house before, you would be able to use the MCC, which is the certificate that I talked about. But again, it's very borrower specific whether or not you qualify for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else on our panel here like to answer, or we can just move on to another question? Moving on. Okay. What's the next one? Okay, here's a great one. Not that none of them were great, because they're all great. I mean, come on. There are so many great agents out there, real estate agents. How do I know if I'm picking the right one? Stephanie, yes. You still need to.
Yeah, I said, let me understand.
Oh, you're
First
breaking
of all,
up.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, perfect. Okay, well, first things first is you want to make sure that you interview the agent to find out whether or not you are a good fit with that agent. You're going to want to ask a series of questions, have they worked with whatever your scenario is, about their experience working with certain things. You know, what their experience. Can you hear me?
You broke up a good little section there. I'm sorry, maybe like 6 seconds.
6 seconds. Okay. So you want to interview agents, interview more than one agent, ask questions about their experience working with certain programs in certain areas, certain types of properties. Ask questions, ask a lot of questions. Find out what their experience level is, even working with down payment assistance programs, because as a buyer, you want to make sure that whoever you hire as an agent, they're able to walk you through the process and they're able to answer any questions that you might have along the way. So hire the right agent by asking questions, making sure that you guys actually gel well together, because you may hire an agent having never met them. And I've actually had people come to me and say, well, you know what? I never met that person over there. They never met me face to face. They never even went out to a property with me, but how are they your agent? Make sure you meet them face to face, because their personality and your personality may not gel well together. Find out by having a face-to-face meeting with them, whether it be by Zoom or in person, whatever you're comfortable with, but meet them. Have a conversation with them, because they may not necessarily be for you. And if they're not, that's okay, because there's a lot of us out here, and just ask the right questions.
Yes. Yes. And sometimes, rejection is protection too, I think the next hand I saw was Joshua.
So I'm pretty critical of where I'm going to spend my money. So I can only speak to how I went about it. I went about it like a job. These people are looking for a job, so make them interview. Not only did I ask them about their experience, but I did what I do with some of my interviewees when I'm interviewing, and I made sure that they were a culture fit, a personality fit, and I came in with a use case, which was, you don't have to do this obviously, but write down all your criteria, write down even down to where you are in the process in your mind, and start to talk to and interview different real estate agents, keep notes on them, because ultimately you're going to run into probably more bad ones than you do good ones. I know I did. I think I interviewed and talked to probably a dozen, and there were just a couple of that fit me. And then also make sure that your real estate agent and your lender vibe together, because the first real estate agent that I had, he wasn't he wasn't in real good graces with my lender. And I would rather have an amazing lender and a mediocre agent than a mediocre lender and an amazing agent, because ultimately your lender is going to be the one that makes or breaks your housing your house hunting. So you have to interview, and then you have to make sure that that person that you maybe gels with the rest of your team, because at the end of the day, your team is what's going to get you in the house.
And that is the goal, getting in that house, having that house. Dan, the insurance man, you got something to add?
Yes, and I know we're limited to the 2 questions, but I just wanted to kind of speak on the insurance side of it, because insurance agents don't really have as much face time or as much time with the client as the loan officer and the realtor do. And so, you know, you're utilizing that realtor, you're utilizing that loan officer as someone who's going to help you all the way through the process of getting into that home. They obviously are doing this, you know, often they have people that they work with. They want to make sure the process is done right, because they want to make, you know, that's their name, that's their brand that's being put out there. So when looking for an insurance agent, I would actually suggest asking your realtor or asking your loan officer, who is it that they've used in the past? Because, you know, if they've had a hard time with someone, they're not going to suggest that person. But if that, you know, they've constantly had situations where that insurance agent was able to get their clients taken care of the right way, and it's always a positive experience, they're going to give you that, they're going to send you that person as well, because that, again, that's their name, that's their brand being attached to it. So if you're looking for an insurance agents or brokers, I would ask your realtor and your loan officer who they use.
And also your title rep, because in title, we see everybody. Okay, we see the listing agent and the buyer's agent. We see how they work as a team or by themselves. So also a great person to ask is title. Title, we have to know a lot of things, and we hear a lot of things. Just throwing that out there. By the way, in case we forgot, I'm in title. I work for Verde Title. Yes, I do. I am the business development representative for Verde Title, but that doesn't mean that I'm just building Verde Title. I build my agents as well. I'm here to introduce you to whoever you need to make whatever dream you have come true. I do believe there is such a thing as a dumb question, and that's the question you didn't ask. Because why didn't you ask it? All right, then, moving on. Another question I see is, are there any financial, wait, did I already ask that? Are there any financial structures a home buyer has to have in place in order to qualify for a home loan? Did I already ask that question? I'm sorry, you guys.
No, we haven't asked that question yet. I mean, we kind of answered it, and with the other answers, I think Brianna answered it 3 times.
Asked and answered.
The last one that we have, is there a way, this is like a nice little scenario. I like these. Is there a way for someone with no money in their savings, a 650 credit score, and no secured credit to purchase a home? That's very specific. I asked this question in one of my other Facebook groups, and this was a question that someone had asked, and I thought it was a pretty good question.
Do they have a gift fund?
Do they have a gift fund? Like what? Oh, a GoFund. Okay.
To a gift
fund.
Oh, and you know what? Speaking of gift funds, okay, you guys, I'm sorry, totally off topic, but keeping in mind, we talking about our people, right? So I'm seeing and hearing about a lot of people who don't understand why it's not okay to use the money that's in the mattress to purchase a home, or the money that's in the freezer, or the money that's in that hole behind that weird looking rock back there. I'm not making fun, even though the question is funny. This is real, but we talking about our people. So people sometimes ask, like, it's still money and cash is king. So why can't I use that cash that's in my mattress?
I'll take that.
I'm saving that.
That's Brianna.
I had a client in the spring have $20,000 in cash that they had sitting for a long time. I'll take that answer. So It's not that you can't, it's that it's very, 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 very hard to prove where it came from. And if you cannot prove ironclad where it came from, then you cannot use it. So there's a lot of very fine details as to when you can and cannot use it. Biggest one is, does this person have a history of using a checking account or using other forms of income? Or are they someone who historically, again, very hard to prove, historically has a history of using just cash? So let's say you're someone that works in an occupation where you get cash. You are paid in cash. Doesn't matter what the occupation is. And historically, you have documents proving that everything you do is in cash, and you have documents proving where you might have gotten that cash from because this is how you operate. Yes, you can use it, but it's so far outside of the guidelines, or it's so far outside of the box of the norm of a lot of people that it's almost easier for lenders to just tell you, don't use it. Because more likely we won't be able to qualify you on it. Because if you even have a checking account, like let's say you get paychecks deposited into a checking account, that disqualifies you right there, pretty much. You know, it's a really, really hard line to prove, and you just put the ball too far into someone else's court. You put it at the discretion of a single underwriter, or however many people you will push it back through. I had to push this through 4 levels of underwriting to get it approved. And this was documented money. This was inheritance. And I had the trace of the inheritance through when, like, I had the lawyer documenting that they inherited this funds. I had the proof of the day that the inheritance was wired to this person and that this person took it out in cash. And even then it took 4 levels of review because they get paychecks. And they have a bank account. So was it approved? Yes. Did they close on time? Absolutely not. Did they almost lose their house over it? Absolutely. Because they almost didn't get any extensions for that. And that was their down payment money. So the reason why we say don't do it is because it's very hard to prove what's not there.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying there's a chance, but I'm saying please don't do it.
Possible.
But don't do it. But
Please don't
the
do
moral
it.
of the story, don't do it. Okay, just get
Please don't do
legitimate
it.
money, you know.
Do it. Be able to trace it. That's it, please.
Thank you. I think I see you had already answered that question. Do lenders take all sources of income into consideration? Oh, did we answer that question? Do lenders take all sources of income into consideration, like disability, annuity, etc.?
We didn't answer that question, but I will answer that as well. So yes and no. Not all sources of income are taken into consideration, but any source of income that we can assume or presume will continue for at least 3 years typically is considered income. So yes, disability, that's one of them. That's for the role, usually for your life. Child support, that's one of them, so long as your kids are younger than 15 years old, or, you know, maybe exactly 15 years old, or you have proof that it will continue beyond 3 years. Annuities, so long as you have enough in that annuity account or in a trust fund account, if you have a trust fund account, to withstand 36 months of draws from that account, you qualify. So anything that we can pretty much guarantee on paper and prove will continue for at least 3 years, that's considered consistent and steady income, and it counts.
All right. Thank you. It looks like in the chat I've got another lender question. This is from Harmeet. Could you talk about some situations where you worked with clients that had an H-1B visa? What unique challenges did you come across compared to someone who was a citizen?
Amanda started to answer that one. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I started to answer that, and Brianna, I knew you would jump in on this, but I think you actually helped me with my HB1 visa client that I had, but it had no restrictions. They were able to get approved for same kind of loans that anyone else gets approved for that's a US citizen. And there was nothing, I mean, it was just like a normal deal. They qualified for, I think it was a regular FHA loan, and it went really smoothly. But as far as hiccups, I'm sure those come up, but I'll let Brianna kind of touch on that, but it's definitely doable.
There we go. Definitely wasn't me on your H-1B person, but thank you for thinking it was me. I like that. But I will say, yes, the caveat with the H-1B is so long as you have 2 years of credit history in the US. If you don't, you do still qualify, but it's a lot more paperwork. I do not have personal experience with H-1Bs, which is how I knew I was like, no, that wasn't me. So I would highly recommend in that scenario that you work with a lender that does have that experience. I have a lender on my team that has a lot of like H-1Bs, I-10, they have that experience. And that's where I send those files to, because I just I don't know what sort of documents you need up front. And it's like Josh was saying, like your lender really is really gonna have a good handle on like how smooth your process goes. So I would personally graciously bow out of that and put you in the hands of someone that's going to get you a very smooth process, and probably just tag along for observation if it came across my desk personally. But that's something you definitely want to specifically ask if they have experience in that sort of instance.
Thank you. And Christina, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, I just want to speak to some of the challenges I've seen about the H-1B visa. And this is just coming from a program standpoint where I have seen people with the H-1B visa try to get into certain affordable programs, and they weren't able to because they don't have that permanent resident status yet. So you might be able to qualify for the loan, but there are other occupancy rules and restrictions in a lot of the affordable programs where you have to be a permanent resident and you have to be a citizen. So that's just some of the things that those two particular things are what I've seen with the H-1B visa.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Were there any more questions? I think that was the end of the questions. Oh, I have another question. Does a person's college debt count toward their DTI? Does it matter what kinds of loans you may qualify with the student debt? This is a great question because I know I got some debt. Okay, Sally Mae, Navian, whatever you want to call her, I owe her money. I wish that she would can't she just forget about it? Like, girl, I've been paying you for this long. Like, ain't you full off of somebody else? But
Memory is long.
Coming soon.
man, these loans. But
Sally Mae doesn't forget.
Never.
Nope, she's an elephant. Is her logo an elephant? It should be, because she don't never forget.
Never.
Obama had loans in the White House. They didn't even forget about him.
My salary is not enough to cover these debts. Sorry. That was funny. Okay.
But seriously though.
Seriously. Student loans. Student loans definitely will impact your approval. The more consumer debt you have, considering your student loan, in theory, if once it surpasses a certain threshold, the less house you qualify for. Different loan programs qualify student loan debts differently. So for all programs, if you have student loans and you are just regularly paying your student loans, the payment reports on your credit report, that's what we're using, right? For all programs, it's just a regular payment. Your payment's $100 a month. That's $100 a month of debt that we're taking into account in your debt to income ratio. Where the divide comes is when you have a deferred payment, or maybe you have like an income-based payment, whatever it is, your payment shows you have this balance of student loans, but on your credit report, it shows $0, right? So as your lender, we would look at programs for you to see if we can either do one of the two, one or the other. Either we can take 1% of your student loan balance and assume that that is your monthly payment. Not recommended. We could take a 0.5% of your student loan balance and presume that that is your monthly payment. Or in the VA, they have like the best student loan recalculations. We take 5% of your balance, but then we divide it by 12 and decide that that is what your monthly payment is. So basically, we kind of just estimate what the monthly payment is going to be, and then take that from your qualifying DTI or add it to your debt. So it's kind of it's a hairy subject. It's a sticky subject. It's an elusive number to nail down, but essentially for most people, you could say however much student debt you have, multiply that by 0.5%, and that's how much it's hitting you on your debt to income.
Thank you. Thank you. By chance, do we know, are there any money lending programs that can be offered to home renters?
Like investors?
Let's say yes.
No. Not that I know of, maybe there's something beyond my scope. To my knowledge, there, in most guidelines, you'll see you cannot accept gifts or grants or anything to purchase an investment home. It actually disqualifies you from the loan itself. All of the funds have to come from your own, all of your funds and your reserves have to come from your own money. People not buying who are renting homes. I don't know if there's any programs for renters. I think that's something maybe Amanda might know, affordability within the city of Austin, if there's like renter programs for help.
For people who are trying to buy first-time home buyers that are renters currently? What do you mean programs for renters regarding home buying process?
Harmeet, if you'd like to come off mute and elaborate a little bit on your question, we'd be happy to answer that for you. It's a great question because I know that there are some renters who need some money. So maybe it won't let him. Let me click this ask to unmute button. Let's see how that works. Harmeet, are you there? Oh, okay. I unmuted him. He wasn't ready.
Why were we? I can say that I don't specifically know of programs that are just for renters, but what I can say is that we do target renters like in apartment communities and offer first-time home buyer classes and try to get them prepared from the time that they're moving in somewhere and get them prepared through the next year to buy a house. So teaming with apartment communities in the area is something that we've done before. Some of you might have been familiar with our first-time homebuyer courses that we did in the past, and it is prepping them through that rental experience to be homeowners. I know some apartment communities, specifically like the Roscoe brands, and Graystar does it sometimes as well, offers for renters to be able to break their lease with a notice, of course, but without any fees, as long as they can show their closing statement. And I think that's just a great way to help first-time homebuyers or anyone that's trying to buy a home that's in a lease. That's a great opportunity, is to give them that incentive that, hey, you may have 9 months left on your lease contract, but we're going to allow you to give us notice and break that lease without any penalty. But I do not know of any direct programs that are created for that. But now my mind is thinking on what I need to build.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome that you guys will target those apartment complexes. Also for anyone who, maybe it's not in the plan for right now to purchase a home and you are looking for another apartment, I do highly recommend you ask your real estate agent friend if they know a locator or if they themselves are an apartment locator. And I'm saying that because whenever I first came down here to Austin, you're looking at all these apartments and stuff online, but people do get catfished when it comes to renting an apartment. So thank goodness for me, I found an apartment locator. They are free. And I ended up, we went and saw the apartment. I liked it. I went to move into my apartment. This apartment was nothing. I mean, nothing like that model. Now, if it was not for my locator, I would have just been stuck. They would have just had somebody who's angry, but I'm locked into a year-long lease. Like I'm up in here. But with her, she fought on my behalf, got them to completely fix up my apartment and prorate me some money back because my apartment was not move-in ready as they promised me. So really, when it comes to the real estate industry, do not do anything by yourself. Do whatever you do, speak to someone who has that real estate license. There's a reason why they have it. They studied it. They became an expert in it. Talk to 3 of them. It's always good to have 3, just like with doctors. Talk to 3 of them. And Christina.
Yes, so I just wanted to mention that there are some affordable rental programs in Austin at different developments all across the city. There is a tool on the City of Austin website that you can maneuver through, and you can actually find the complexes that have those units. They are income capped, and they are priced at a discounted rental rate. So there are some in Mueller that we work with on a daily basis. There's some downtown, and the North Shore is one of those units. And they're capped at, the income is capped differently. Some of them are at 60% of the median family income. Some are at 80% of the median family income. It just depends on the development. If anyone's interested in those tools that the City of Austin has, I do have a link. Let me know. I can provide that.
Thank you, everyone on the panel. If we can take a moment to copy and paste your information back into the chat box, and everyone who is not on the panel, in case you did not know this, you can actually save the entire conversation. So when you open the chat box over to the right, there are like those 3 little dots. When you click there, or no, I'm sorry, on mine, all I have to do is click the little thing that looks like a piece of paper. I click on a little piece of paper and it literally will save the conversation to my Google Drive. It gives me options of Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive, whatever boxes, and SharePoint in your computer. So please make sure to take advantage of that. Also, I had this question a couple of days ago. Someone had said that they had heard, please let me know if this is incorrect. There's something where if people get a beehive and get like a beehive and put bees on their property, that they somehow can get around paying property taxes because bees are a protected animal. Is this true? Because if I can get away from paying property taxes, I could be cool with getting stung by a bee every now and then. It's no big deal. They outside. Anybody know about this? Or there's some,
It's
yes.
so funny. I've heard that too, actually. I don't know
Right,
from whom. But.
It's a funny question, but I am.
There's more to it than just getting some bees and whatnot. But essentially, you better believe that'll. Anyway, sorry. If you have a bee farm, if you have a farm of some sort, you now qualify for an agricultural exemption. That does not mean you don't pay any property taxes. It just means you have an additional exemption on your properties. And obviously there's only a certain amount of animals that you could keep within city ordinances in order to qualify for that. Like most city ordinances or like PUDs or whatnot are not going to allow you to just like keep some cows. But they might not have any restrictions for bees. So
yeah, bees are everywhere.
One of those outside of the box things you might be able to do, you might not be able to do. Yes, I was like, and I was going to say there's going to be caveats. I'm not going to recommend that anyone just goes into this assuming they're going to get that exemption. It's an exemption, and it's trickier than just getting some bees and putting them in your backyard.
Okay, well, thank you.
Anyone
you might want to weigh the cost benefit to that.
Josh is like, how do I get some? He's like, wait.
No, you might want to weigh the cost benefit to that because it might be more expensive to actually have them than to just pay your taxes.
Yes, also true. So yeah, it's not as cut and dry as it seems.
Or you could be allergic like me and die. But
Oh, okay. Josh
I
is
do
definitely
love
not
bees,
getting that
so
kind of exemption.
I'd be a
Gonna keep
fan.
his VA.
I mean, just keep that EpiPen, be fine. But
every day?
yeah, absolutely every day. Bees are
Just to go
everywhere.
outside?
Yeah, bees are outside.
No, bees, spiders, I don't do those things.
Oh, this is great. Have another question. What if you and your husband to be are looking to buy a home or duplex? Is it best to do it together as far as credit review and loan?
Of course.
Pamela, yes.
Yeah. I know, Brianna, please take it away after me. But yeah, ultimately it's going to be working with the lender that could run both of the situations and seeing what's going to be best for you guys. Sometimes I recommend doing it together so you can get more of a purchase power, combining both incomes. But yes, I would say doing it together would be best. In terms of credit, I believe they take the lowest middle credit score. So I personally, when me and my husband were buying, I was the one with the lowest credit score that I had to work on it for about 3 months, and I brought it up to where I needed to have it. But I mean, yeah, it's basically running those two situations.
Yeah, it's so situation dependent. The key word that you said is husband to be, which is great. That means you're not married yet. Because if you're trying to buy a multi-family or a multi-unit property rather, and you're going to live in what you're going to, what Amanda said, a house hack. You're going to live in one side and rent out the other, which is what I recommend all day long to get yourself into something that's going to be income producing and at the lowest rate possible, right? So for example, like if you were going to buy an investment property, it's like 7% right now. But if you're going to live in it, it could be like 5%, big difference. So that being said, those products that allow you a low down payment on a multi-unit property are through the FHA, or if you qualify, VA. And those products require you to take your spouse's debts into consideration, whether or not you're using their income. So if you can, and if it's viable for you to do it, you both qualify, my advice would be for you, and your goal is to amass a real estate portfolio. That's got to be your goal before I tell you to do this. My suggestion would be that each of you buy one and live separately in them. You do have to be living in them. You have to each go live in that house. How often you stay over at your fiance's house is your business, but you do have to live at the other house. And then after your marriage, you could technically, now that's a qualifying event, you could easily now qualify for a third multifamily home at that FHA 3.5% down. So it's something you could do if you both qualify on your own, both have all your own funds to do it. You could certainly each buy your own before you get married, but oftentimes, just weekends, yes. Oftentimes that might not work out savings wise, income wise, or sometimes credit wise, or whatever the case is. But if you do qualify, definitely say each of you guys go get a property, come into the marriage with something great to have, and then decide from there. I love that idea.
Absolutely. Folks growing together. It is now 7:43, so we're in the very last few moments of our amazing, informative, educational, empowering, fantastic Zoom. I don't know about y'all, but I have learned so much. I am so thankful and blessed to have met so many amazing people who know so much. Like, thank you so much for being available this evening and making yourselves available and just being people who are of service, because we definitely need all of you. I don't know if there's any more questions down here. I think somebody had, if somebody could get the link for the main link for Black Leaders Collective and post that in the chat, that would be great. I am posting my contact information because here I am telling y'all to put it in here and I ain't done it yet. Bree, get it together, get it together. Does anybody else have any other questions or something that they want to add in these last few moments?
Really, I just wanted to say I'm so thankful to be a part of this group. I really appreciate everybody, being here. I mean, you spent, an hour and a half with or an hour and, 3/4 with us. And I think this was just amazing. Bree, you are amazing. My gosh, you were such a great host. You already know it, whatever.
Oh, thanks, y'all. Like, it is so strange talking to a computer screen. Like, for those of you who have never met me in person, I mean, I am different, but I'm not nearly this awkward. Okay. But I think I got myself through it. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Thank you, Dan, because I was over here like, oh crap, what am I saying? I'm over here stuttering. Where are my questions? Where did this pop-up come from? I thought Max didn't do that. Like,
if y'all haven't met Bree in person, you need to make a point to book some one-on-one time with her to see her in person because she is everything.
Amanda, I'm so glad you said that because I was thinking it and I'm like,
the energy is everything. The energy.
Thank you. Thank you. We all gonna get through it together, right? And then just because I'm silly, so whenever we were talking about the MCC, I'm like, I'm getting the MCC. Yeah, you know me. You're down with MCC. Oh my goodness. I'm just silly. I can't even help it, y'all.
I just need a little bit of your energy, just a little bit.
I don't know where it comes from. It's just totally natural. Here it is, 7:46. I've been up since this morning and I'm still over here with energy. I don't know. I don't know where this comes from. It's just natural. This really is Snapple. This isn't liquor. This really yes.
Not yet, anyway.
Wonderful. Well, if there are no further questions, I guess I'll just leave the rest of the time for everyone to network with each other. We all are here to help and build each other up. So please network with intention. And then also do not forget to follow up. Let's not just have a great time right now and then never talk to each other ever again. Because then what did that do? Besides have a good night, yeah, it's a great night, but we need to build off of this. Right now is when we are planting seeds. In order to reap what you sow, you must sow first, right? So again, do not be scared to reach out to anyone at all. If you're a little nervous to reach out to someone, please don't be nervous to reach out to me. Give me a call. We're gonna talk on the phone. We're gonna laugh real quick. I'm gonna ask you, who do you need? And then I'm gonna send a 3-way text introduction. Okay. We're not going through any of this by ourselves or alone. That is not how life is supposed to be. So again, the only dumb question is the question you did not ask. Because it was dumb, you didn't ask it. Why didn't you ask it? You just over there not knowing, We could fix that.
And she will send you those 3-way texts.
Yes, I will.
Bree is a master connector.
I do what I can. And if you've been crying for the day, give me a call, because before I say hi to you, I've got about like 12 adjectives for you. Okay.
Hi, this is Martha. I just wanted to clarify with Joshua. I was trying to get it in the chat. Did you say that you were an architectural in regards to tech and building your company on the tech side? Can you kind of help me with that? I misunderstood what you said your job was.
Oh, yeah. So I'm the director of business process design for a tech firm out of New York. So I handle business transformation and technology transformation for different kinds of businesses. Predominantly now I work in life sciences, but before it was like aerospace and so on and so forth. I build businesses is the best way to describe that. Everything from accounting all the way through manufacturing, routings and yield rates and taxes. And then on my personal business, I run my own business on the side, somewhat doing the same thing. Everything from technical PM work through architecture. So like systems architecture, not so much like structural architecture, but I design systems.
Okay, thank you. That clarified what I was looking for. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for asking, Martha. Anybody else got any questions for anybody on the panel? Questions?
Yeah,
comments?
hi. Yeah, one more thing. Hi, Bree, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, this is Alexander. I wanted to ask the panel, is there any buying a home, right, or buying that property? And I saw someone put up 5 acres of land in reference to the exemption. What about sustainable living? And what I mean by that is, I'm in the rainwater harvesting business, and a lot of homes don't have, at least on the east side, don't have rainwater capturing systems attached to the home, which is a benefit all into its own in so many ways. But from the sustainability side, we go out to buy these homes. What type of sustainable coupons by government, whatever, are often talked in the mix and is a part of the mix? If that makes any sense.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Sorry. The sustainable living. So all of the rebates and rewards for sustainable living on your new home that you're buying, whether that's improvements or buying as is. Has anyone talked about that or shared with people about those types of coupons that are available?
I think the one thing that comes to mind is like the federal tax credit that you get for like putting solar panels. Is that what you're kind of referring to?
Yeah, solar panels, rainwater harvesting equipment, pieces. I mean, there's so many things that are out there under the sustainable living piece that you can get multiple, thousands of dollars worth of rebates back. And that includes rentals too, all around. So anything sustainable, if it's attached to the property that you're buying or renting or whatever, you're entitled to those particular breaks.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I know the city of Austin, also they have like a lot of programs and rebates for that. And that can be something that you do as, you're already in the home versus, before in the process of buying. But definitely, yeah, it's a little bit, everything is process, right? So it's still the application, it's still, researching. I know city of Boston, they make you take like a course on sustainability. But overall, you get that tax benefit at the end. Absolutely.
Thanks.
I don't know a lot about that. I know that City of Austin does have incentives for it. And I think there was a new community that came out recently, but I can't remember the name of it. But I want
Valley.
There, Whisper Valley. Yes. Yes, but there's also an apartment community too. Juneau, I think there are programs for that. I just don't know a lot about it, but Alexander, I think it's great that you brought that up. I just wrote a note on it. So it's just more information that I need to be aware of. Thank you for bringing that to the forefront.
Thanks.
Yes, that was great. I was wondering, do first-time home buyers buyers credits, do those work also? Like what if somebody wanted to buy a home that was at auction or at like a foreclosed home? Is that smart? Is that not smart to buy a home that's been foreclosed on? Would it be cheaper? I'm asking this question. We got like 6 minutes left, and I know that's not like a 6-minute answer type of question. I'm sorry.
I think that's more of a realtor or lender question.
Anybody want to answer?
I think
There was like 4 questions inside the question. Amanda, you go first.
so. Bree, can you repeat the question because you did ask kind of a little bit.
I'm sorry, I got excited. If somebody, let's say somebody wanted to buy a home that was at auction or foreclosed on, can they still use a first-time home buyer's credit?
Most of these are going to be cash and they're going to be going fast. Investors are going to jump on them. I do honestly wish there was some kind of like what the builders did where they won't allow investors to buy properties because they want to leave those open for first-time home buyers. I wish that same thing was being done at city auctions, but it's not. And so all these investors go in and they just take up all of this potentially homes that people can afford that are way less than what it would be on the market. But I would say that in my time that I've been in real estate, trying to get first-time home buyers into programs like that has been difficult because they just, boom, they're gone. Yes, that's good, Brianna, what you just posted.
Yes.
And sometimes you will see those on the MLS as well.
Thank you.
I'm munching on my.
Piggyback on what
Tiffany has her hand up.
on what Amanda was saying about homes going. Can you hear me?
Yes, but you sound a little robot-y, but you're coming through.
Okay, so what I wanted to say was that on foreclosure HUD homes, there's a waiting period. If you are desiring to use any sort of FHA funding to purchase the property, there's usually a waiting period before they release it out to the general public. So that could hinder someone who's wanting a home that was recently foreclosed on. There's usually that window of time that they can't acquire the property if they're using FHA funding. So that's just that's the only thing I wanted to add to that.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we got 4 minutes left, you guys. It has been great. It has been wonderful. Again, please, reach out to all of us if you have any questions, or if you want a friend. You know, everybody's open to meet new people, make new friends. You never know. You never know if you're going to be a blessing in someone's life. So don't be scared to say hi. Okay, thanks, guys.
I have a quick question before this last 2 or 3 minutes goes away.
Thank you.
Because I am just starting a small business, but I'm just wondering if the panel knows right off the top of your head, any programs out there for minority women investors just starting, vice trying to compete with major experienced investors that's they're already on the market and they're snagging things up. Are there any first-time incentives in that area? Y'all looking like, no, not really. You just
And I'm like, let me come off. I'm gonna come off camera here. So as far as incentives and programs that help investors afford homes, no, because you have to have all of your own things to get the deal. As far as the education to help you, yes, all day. Even there's just like a big Facebook group. It's called Black Girls in Real Estate. And it's specifically for Black women in real estate, whether you're an agent, a lender, an investor, a wholesaler, whatnot. There's just resources, and there's a lot of powers that be that are driven to put the knowledge out there for us to help us. However, as far as financial, like actual physical help, the whole thing with investors is you've got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. That's kind of like, we don't necessarily, it's dangerous and risky for people to be investing because now you're responsible for someone else's livelihood as well in their home, if they don't have the funds themselves to back that up. So it's a lot of lenders are very cautious. I will say throughout those organizations, you might find someone to partner with that's helping you as your first time. You might find someone that's doing like a boot camp that you'll pay for coaching on how to do this. And then they will help you kind of put together the blueprint. So that way you could take whatever your initial startup fund is and they'll teach you how to invest that. Those are not things that are free. So those are things that cost money, and you do have to do your own due diligence to make sure that that's something that this person is legit. So I think the best knowledge or help out there is the knowledge and getting that knowledge to you that I know of.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. It is now 8 o'clock. So it's now time for us to do whatever it is that we do after 8 o'clock, y'all. Hopefully all these things that we have said and answered will have your minds racing and excited for the future and excited to see you tomorrow for our next in-person event. I believe that is on Notley. I'm sorry. Yeah, the address is 1023 Springdale Road. You can go back onto the Eventbrite and make sure you register and let us know that you'll be there. That's tomorrow from 6 until 8 o'clock. And we are looking forward to seeing you then.
And we will try and get the recording of this to all the participants so y'all can go back and review.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Thanks, Bree.
Good night.
Thank you very much for asking me to do this. This was fun. Bye-bye.